all eyes on LATAM right now. Guava, Global, Uniswap. My name is Sara. I work at Uniswap Labs and I lead international growth.
Latin America is a hot topic. It's DevConnect in Argentina, lots happening. As you're expanding Uniswap's global ecosystem, specifically in Latin America, what are the signals that you're looking for to recognize that it's like the right time and the right place?
Yeah, so I don't think you can ever get time or place right. You just have to lean into it. And for Uniswap, the things we looked at was like A, our user base, B, like the emerging like crypto market and community in LATAM, and then C, like regulatory signals. So I think the combination of the three really are like what we look at in every country we go to. With DevConnect, there's like so much more energy coming into Mexico, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, all the countries that we're going to. So we're excited to like be here before it all goes down.
Yeah, and what a great place to start.
Exactly. And interestingly enough, Mexico is like where you see the highest volume of like DeFi trading. So for Uniswap, that's really exciting because that's like our core product.
Like one thing that you're most excited about that's coming out of maybe not all of LATAM, but Mexico.
So I think it's been really exciting for me is that we're seeing, this is really cliche, so please don't hate me for it, but just like alternative use cases for DeFi beyond swapping. What's really exciting about like when we're coming to these countries is I'm actually like learning a lot about the psychology of like money and how people are thinking about like exchanging value, both like hand to hand, but then also on chain. And I think like on builders and the things that are happening in Mexico is so different than like what I would see on the streets of New York, where maybe it's like I'm going to a coffee shop and I'm like tapping earn rewards using DeFi, but here it's like so much more different. And I think that's something that's really exciting for me to like learn from. And also like on the guise of learning, just like being here and like learning more about how people like want to show up on chain and how people want to like create value and like embrace it with like their friends and families is really exciting.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's like a more like on the root level, like start at home and then take it beyond.
Yeah, and there's just so many regular like homegrown builders here, and it's really inspiring. And just like tonight at this like event, I've met so many people who like went to school here, maybe like studied abroad for a little bit, and came back and they're like, I want to build something in Mexico, in Mexico City, for my own community.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting point, because having global exposure really brings in that like big picture thinking.
Yeah.
How does Uniswap's approach to ecosystem growth shift when working in emerging markets like Latin America?
Yeah, so it's exactly what I talked about before. It's understanding like the psychology of money and like what exactly people are doing on chain and why they need to do it on chain. And I think that it's like it helps you take such a different approach to a market. So for example, in some of the countries in APAC, they're like are really diligent investors and they're like really using assets on chain to like invest and make money. And in other countries, it's like a guise for kind of like a hedge against inflation. And it's so different country by country, and it's really important for growing the ecosystem in each country to understand like why people are going on chain before they like, commit to like building a product.
100%. Now going into like product building and founders, what advice do you have for founders in Latin America looking to plug into protocols like Uniswap, Unichain?
Yeah, so I think like surface level, there are a ton of resources that like the foundation and that provide. So everything from like the Atrium Academies, Hooks Academies, we have a ton of resources online on like our Unichain website for builders. But I think separate from that, what I feel is really important is just like leaning into like, we may have to we were, but I got distracted.
Say hello.
Hi, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think like starting off with a ton of resources for builders looking to learn more about our ecosystem. So we do Atrium Academy, like there's Hooks Incubator. We have a ton of resources for builders on our website. We're really excited to like partner with a lot of people like that are building on each chain. But then I think like separate from Uniswap, just like general advice, taking the time to learn more about like the protocol, like what value can actually add to you and like your users is really important. I see this, I feel like all the time, and this is like a Sara.com hot take. Like certain like founders or builders will go to hackathons and they'll like build something for like the sake of like building it to like maybe earn a reward or like get some like sort of incentive, and then it like there's actually not a use case like for X protocol or X prize like beyond that for their core users.
Right.
So really thinking about like the incentive alignment between like your core users and who you're building for, and then the said global protocol.
Totally. More PMS.
the PMS of it all.
But honestly, it's kind of needed in the ecosystem.
I think it's not like product market fit, it's like people fit. Okay, like let's be like philosophical about it. But it's like really matching like your users and like the core people that are using your products like with like protocol.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's true. Like every protocol is also very specific to like what it's trying to drive.
Exactly.
Okay, right now everything's very fragmented, right? Like we have a trillion L2s. Like, what do you?
It should have been Uniswap House L2.
Okay, but like honestly, there are so many. Everything's fragmented. Like I've seen Uniswap on like every single new L2 that comes up, right? Like that's usually one of the first integrations, so that like there's DeFi going on. But like, what do you think is going to be that sort of like unifying factor? Like, what does that look like? Do you think it's going to be like a killer app, or like how are we going to get there? How are we going to abstract all of this shit?
Abstract the shit. Well, I think it's hot take. It's going to happen on Unichain. Some of the stuff that I think the Uniswap team is working on to abstract like these like messy, kind of like scary DeFi like principles, so, like onboarding and things like that. Like Unichain and the Uniswap is really like excited to do. So everything from like smart wallets to like cross-chain swapping, all that stuff. It's going to happen via the chain for DeFi, Unichain.
Wow, you heard it here first.